My name's Naroop. I'm a creative. I'm a creator. I'm a podcaster as well. Got my own podcast. I now run my own agency called Back the Brave. I'm also the proud founder of my latest venture, which is called the Dad Project, which is a men's mental health organization, which I feel after all my years on this planet is my true purpose and calling. I am myself, but a lot of people would also know my brother, who is Jay Sean.
Is it Eyes on You when he has a little rap battle at the end against himself?
I was actually playing his double in that.
I was going to ask because they look quite similar.
Because I used to have, we both used to have his long hair. My brother, to me, is a role model and shows me how life can be. So when I stay with him, when I see him at shows, when I see how he interacts with people, I feel like the universe is giving me a teacher, someone in front of me to say, keep learning. If he saw me in pain or that I was without anything, it would kill him. And he would do anything he can to make me feel good.
Was there ever a moment where you felt like invisible in your family story?
Constantly.
Yeah?
Constantly.
Despite the fact he's been quite supportive.
My invisibility didn't come because of him. It was because of what I was going through.
My question to you then, why is it that you feel a certain kind of way, even to this day, not to let him in with regards to what's going on?
Because he would worry. He would make a mountain out of a molehill. He would do anything he can to solve it.
What you're saying though, there is guilt there, because it's like he's done all of this for me, I want to do the same back. You've just sung his praises in regards to how grounded he is, and this is the kind of person he is.
Yeah.
And now what you're possibly going to tell me is you want to stop him from being him so that you can give back to him.
Yeah, maybe there is that. I don't want him to worry, man.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Unfltered Podcast, where we take the eye out of unfiltered and put the emphasis directly on you. This is the one platform where we get to take down our filters and have raw, authentic and vulnerable conversations in regards to the challenges that we're all facing today. Now, if you're a fan of the unfiltered nature of this podcast and you want more of these conversations that I have on the show to be normalized, why don't you help me help you? To get more guests on and to have those difficult conversations in regards to the challenges we're all facing, I have to know what it is that you specifically want us to speak about. So if it isn't too much to ask, why don't you hit that subscribe button right now? And at the end of the episode, if it's been a hit for you, why don't you leave a thumbs up and leave a cheeky review in regards to what specifically resonates with you. Now, with that all being said and done, let's get straight back into the episode.
Naroop.
Hey, man.
How's it going?
I'm all good, brother. I'm all good.
Thanks for coming through.
Yeah, man. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me here.
And again, the first time I met you, you came to the speaking event I did.
Yeah.
Much appreciated for showing up, man.
You did a great job, man. I was thoroughly impressed.
I was bricking it before. The fact that like it just flowed quite nicely, and then I think you were the first person to speak in regards to just getting very unfiltered with your story and stuff. It made it a lot more easier just to carry on with that conversation. So big love for finding the time to come through.
Yeah, man.
And again, like sharing your story. Like I told my dad after, I said, do you know who that guy was? And he was like, no. And I said, it's his brother. And he was like, swear. And I didn't know he went through that.
Yeah.
You don't know what a lot of people going through, Dad. You got to be a bit more mindful in regards to people's situations.
Yeah, man.
Not just be abysmal in regards to what you see on a TV screen or what you see on your phone kind of thing.
Yeah, man.
But let's introduce yourself, man. I've just waffled into it. Let the audience know, for people who aren't following you, people who aren't in your space, who you are, what you're doing, and the things that you're doing behind the scenes.
My name's Naroop. I'm a creative. I'm a creator. I'm a podcaster as well. Got my own podcast. I was in the photography and film game for 22 years. I now run my own agency called Back the Brave, where we do content for businesses and brands, but also founders. And I'm also the proud founder of my latest venture, which is called the Dad Project, which is a men's mental health organization, which I feel after all my years on this planet is my true purpose and calling.
Mad. I've been seeing the production of the podcast coming through. I've downloaded a number of episodes I'm gonna listen to, because you've interviewed Juggy.
Yep.
He came on the podcast, and we had a very, very insightful conversation around men's mental health.
Yep.
And I know you've gone more into his particular story in regards to one chapter in his story.
Yep.
So, sick, man.
Much
appreciated. And today we're gonna be going into something a little bit more different, right? We said, and you said you're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So who else are you besides what you're doing with work and that? Let the audience know who you really are.
Well, the thing is, when I am myself, but a lot of people would also know my brother,
Yep.
who is Jay Sean. And it's really interesting because I was talking to you about this when we had our kind of pre-podcast chat.
Yep.
And I was saying that it's really interesting that a lot of my life has been almost like a mirror
Yeah.
to my brother, right? And not in a jealous, envious way, but in a beautiful, inspiring way. In a way that if you keep your head firmly on your shoulders, don't let it get inflated by false sense of grandeur. If you can be kind, if you can be humble, if you can stay true to your calling, there's nothing that you can't achieve. And you can still last a long time in an industry which is quite fickle. You can still maintain people's respect after a long time, and you can be happy. And the funny thing is, yesterday I was with my brother the whole day. He was on a press run, and whenever he's here, I try to spend as much time as I can with him. And we were talking about some of these artists who just have thrown it all away, who have either committed suicide, who have gone deep into drugs and addiction. And what is it about these people who we can look at them on the outside and think, wow, you've got everything. But for them, there's something missing.
Yeah.
And I think it's this sense that they lose themselves.
Yeah.
They lose who they are. Because it's so easy when everyone is telling you, yes, 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 yes. Oh, you're amazing. You don't have to pay for that. Take this, more, more, more. I want you, I want you, I want you. You're not even living on the same planet. You're not on Earth. You're like your own little, whatever it might be, right? So how do you stay grounded? And the one thing I love about my brother is his feet are so firmly planted on the ground. And it's shown me that everything is possible, and life doesn't have to be this, if you're a celebrity, don't come and chat to me and I'm better than you. It's not. Like he was telling me when he went to a recent gig, and the act for him, right? So my brother was the headline. The act for him came with an entourage of 26 people. My brother, it was him, the DJ, and their tour manager. It just keeps it real. And I love that, because what more do you need? You get people's respect.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, bro, it's about authenticity.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Can you be authentic? Can you keep it real? Or are you going to try to act like, no, I'm too good for you? Like, no one respects that.
No one does respect that. But I think sometimes when you're portrayed in a light where you get given, like you said, people just give. And like you were saying, you're on like another planet. Sometimes it feels like you're in God mode, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it's how do you ground yourself and appreciate where you come from, and the fans and the family and how you've got there in that story. And sometimes you can get lost if you never had any of that growing up.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate, for some people, you just ride the wave.
Yeah.
But it can be quite toxic. And you have heard about, like, if not actors, other celebrities, sports athletes in particular, like a footballer, after the age of 30, 32, if they've not been able to secure something or not been able to financially plan themselves in a certain way, they go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Or they have gambling problems and addictions. And
Yeah.
it does spiral out. Do you call him Jay as well?
I call him Nick.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
His home name is Nick.
Okay, fine.
But I do call him Jay when we're in meetings.
Okay, fine.
So, we've got a company together. So when we're on Zoom calls or we do stuff, I'm like, so Jay, and it's fine. People know him as that, but sometimes it might slip out.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, he's just Nick.
I'm going to ask you this. This is just purely for my curiosity.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have done some more background research behind it. Obviously, in the Me Against Myself album, and is it Eyes on You, when he has a little rap battle at the end against himself?
Yeah.
And he calls himself, is it Kamuljit?
Kamuljit's his real name.
That's his real name.
Legal,
Okay.
His
So wait,
legal
Nick's
name.
another name.
Yeah.
And now we got Jay as his actual name.
So this is actually a funny story, and he won't mind me sharing it because it's common knowledge. His name was Kamuljit. But we went to a private school in Hammersmith called Latimer.
Okay.
Right? So they're not calling him Kamuljit.
Yeah.
They're calling him Camel Shit. My dad called me Naroop, right? When you think Naroop's the right name, what are you really going to say, right? And so he gets Camel Shit. And at school, everyone's teasing him. And then the teachers called my parents in one day and said, Mr. Duty, we've noticed your son's getting bullied.
Damn.
Right, for his name.
Yeah.
maybe bullied's a stretch too far, but they're taking the piss. Do you call him anything else? Is there another name? And that nowadays that you couldn't do that. But then this is a while ago, right? They said, well, we call him Nick at home. And they're like, okay, do you mind if you call him Nick at school? And they said no. And this was in prep. So I think it's quite early on, right? This is before, 11, right? Fine. So this is early on. And then he became Nick at school. And nobody calls him Cameljit. Nobody, fine. Unless you're, at the airport, or immigration, someone, but he's Nick. And man. And then Jay is his performance name.
Fine. Fair play. Fair enough. I thought I had to ask that question for the people I know who have been following Jay. Like, I'm talking about my family and friends would want to know what's his real name. But
the thing is that me and my Against Myself skit, and it's in the back of Eyes on You, right? Yeah. I was actually playing his double in that.
I was going to ask because they look quite similar.
I was his double because we both used to have his long hair.
Yeah.
And it was like this.
Oh, we all had the long hair.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called at the bottom.
Mohican.
The mullet, and then. It was just whatever.
The little fishtail.
It was bad. It was bad. And I used to dye one corner red. Don't ask me why. And but the fact that he addressed it openly.
Yeah.
Some artists might just think, okay, I'm going to hide it. No one can know my name. Yeah. Like, I'll sue you if you say it. It's open. So once you said it, then what's someone going to say to you after that?
Fair play.
Let's get it out there. It's almost like 8 Mile with Eminem, right? Where he says everything.
Yeah.
I told you everything. So what more are you going to say to me now?
Fair play.
And then everyone's like, okay, cool. And that's it.
Fair enough.
Owning it, bruv.
No.
There's a life lesson there, bruv.
No, there is.
You own it. You own what you are. Proudly own it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I know at school we used to have like some names and we'd possibly taken... I suppose in that school culture, you can get lost with what's deemed as cool.
Yeah.
So it might have been funny to say something. When you look back in it right now, you probably say to yourself, probably shouldn't have done that. It's a bit bad. But you learn from those mistakes, and I presume all the kids that obviously took the piss once upon a time probably regretting that shit a lot now.
Yeah, man.
But no, respect to your family as well for especially at that time to be able to like apply that and not affecting his career in any way. But we're gonna focus this about you and your relationship, Jay. We said we talk about siblings. And the reason why I wanted to get into this conversation because I've got quite close to home with me. Me and my sister used to hate each other when we were growing up. Very competitive. We're best friends now, but prior to that, like, she always had to be better than me because she thought I was the golden child and vice versa, right? And I think that's a kind of standard thing that's within my generation. Possibly, maybe not so much yours, I don't know, because you've got a different relationship with your brother. But it always kind of like lingered around, like you had to be the top dog or try and be the best, the smartest, the most creative, the most successful.
Yeah.
And then like even my 2 cousins right now, I went to go babysit them last week, and we played football in the park. And the older one's like 5-6 years older, and the younger one's a lot more gifted in regards to say the sports that they're playing. Yeah. So getting picked to play for more clubs. Yeah. Beating him at other sports now, and there's like a 5-year difference. Yeah. And I pulled them together, and I was like, out of curiosity, do you support one another? And the older one's like, no, I've got to be better than him. Yeah. I have to. Yeah. I'm like, no, you don't. I said, your brother's got a skill here. You should be supporting him and encouraging him and pushing him. You don't need to be better. And he was like, no, but I have to. And I was like, trust me, you're going to hate each other. You should be going there supporting him, and he should come and see you and support you. And together you pick yourselves back up. Don't go down a rocky relationship like me and my sister did. And that's what we're gonna dabble into. Of course, man. So one of the questions I had, kind of going off tangent, but keeping it in line with it. What does being Jay Sean's brother mean to you? Not to the world, not for the headlines, but when you're alone, when you're on your way here, what does that mean to you?
It's a glimpse into... let me reword that. My brother, to me, is a role model and shows me how life can be when you stay authentic to who you are and pursue your dreams, right? And even today, on the way here, I was on the train station, and my brother has been here for 2 days. He's going back to New York. And I asked him a question actually before I left. I said, how do you feel when you go home and you look at your house? Because he's got an amazing house in Jersey, right? And he said, just like a normal house, like they're all big around the area. I said, yeah, but that's because like founders of the biggest companies in Manhattan live in your area, so they're going to be big. I said, but how do you feel? I said, because if I walked home every day and I saw that house and I knew that was mine, I would be like, I made it. But for him, he doesn't think of it that deep. It just is. So when I go to Jersey and I stay with him, when I see him at shows, when I see how he interacts with people, I feel like the universe is giving me a teacher, someone in front of me to say, keep learning. Because it's funny, we all talk about success, and we talk about everyone has a time when their thing's going to come, right? Some people it comes earlier, some people it comes later. And I think there's a reason for that, because in life we have to develop the mindset and the experiences to handle success, wealth, fame, whatever it might be. Some people, they get it early and they just lose it, and it just goes, and their whole life crumbles. Some people get success and wealth and fame and they use it positively, and they continue going, they build empires, right? He got fame and success at an early age, 22, 23. He was ready for it. He was humble, kind, giving, caring, unselfish at a very early age. And that's why he still kept it. And I've realized that over the years of being his brother, I couldn't have done that at his age. I know what kind of person I was. I'm self-aware enough to know that at his age, I would have been like, oh, look at me, I smashed it, innit? I would have bought a Ferrari. I would have gone to show my mates. I would have revved the engine. I probably would have crashed it. I know me.
Yeah.
At that age, I know what I would have done. My journey has been very different to his. My learnings have come through facing obstacles, overcoming them, learning, moving on. Facing obstacles, overcoming, learning, move on. And each challenge, I look back and I own it and I love it. He's created who I am now, right? And I love who I am. So he's in my life to show me constantly and be my North Star in a lot of ways. And he will say the same thing to me. He will say, Naroop, I learned so much from you. But as an older sibling, and like you said about your cousins who you were, your nephews, he never did that with me, man. He was always been my number one supporter from day dot. And it was just the way he was made. Our parents got an amazing marriage. We went out for dinner last night, the four of us. Beautiful just time spent together. Dad still imparting his wisdom, mum sharing her love. We see the two of them in love. It was a beautiful moment just to soak in that energy, right? That relationship like that exists, and we learned from them. But he was, I guess his upbringing as well, he had that care for me from a very young age, that he never wanted anything bad to happen to me. If he saw me in pain or that I was without anything, it would kill him. And he would do anything he can to make me feel good.
That's nice, man.
And that's very rare. That's very
taking
rare.
away some of my questions.
Yeah, but we can go. We could go deeper into that.
Yeah,
but that's
Well, for you personally, then I know the fact that you said that he was always there.
Yeah.
I can appreciate as his fame was taking off.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know what you would have done if you were in that moment, which possibly paints a picture of what you were like at the time in regards to things that were going on in your life prior and to where you were. You could judge a couple of years different between the two of you.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment where you felt like invisible in your family story?
Constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Despite the fact he's been quite supportive.
My invisibility didn't come because of him. It was because of what I was going through.
Okay.
And I own this as a man, that my experiences had to be this way. But I was bullied at a young age for my eye condition, right? So it knocked my confidence, and I'm open about this. It knocked my confidence for so long because kids are cruel, right? Wow. And so I would get teased that I would look at someone and they would say, who are you looking at, bruv? You're looking at someone behind me, you're looking at me, or they would not be sure if I'm looking at that person. Sometimes it's done innocently, right? Yeah. They're not sure who you're looking at, and that would throw me off, bro. It would kill me because sometimes a person is doing it innocently, but I live in that moment. That moment stays with me. I go home and think, that person didn't even know I was looking at them. Or especially around women, I'd be really nervous. Like, what do they think of me? They find me attractive, even though I had my first girlfriend when I was 15, right?
In your head.
In my head, I'm still like processing this. Like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Right? So my confidence was really low, and I couldn't, I found it very difficult to communicate with people because I was more worried about what they thought of me than what I was actually saying. And so my mind wasn't even in the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be this person just saying, accept me. You know, am I like you? Like, I'm not a weirdo, am I? Tell me, am I? Right? And so I started to shrink. I would want to hide. I would want to not be in the center of attention. So as my brother was getting more and more famous, and I used to tour manage him, you know, in its early stages, I used to take him to his gigs, I used to collect the money to drive him down there. I would just want to be in the side of the stage, bro. Like, please don't look at me. Like, I haven't got the confidence to look at you or to talk to you too much. You know, I wouldn't project my voice enough. I wouldn't own the room. But then I've got this guy, my brother, who's everyone's looking at. So all eyes on him. And I'm just literally stood on the side like, okay. And that was like that for a long, long time. And I probably didn't talk to anyone. I definitely didn't talk to anyone about it. And even then, no one really knew how to help me. And so I had to do that work myself. And it took a long time.
You know, you mentioned that you had this eye condition.
Yeah.
Is it like a lazy eye condition?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Still see out of it though.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously you said kids were mean to you at school, and kids just say things, right?
Yeah.
There's no filters around with kids.
Yeah.
And you and your brother went to the same school?
Yeah.
Was Jay back then, Nick back then around to protect you?
I didn't really tell too many people about it, man. I'll be honest with you. I just kind of kept it to myself. I think I was a bit ashamed, really. But also I didn't know any different. So I just thought, this is life. And what do you really say? I mean, people used to get teased on. I was a bit chubby as well, so I used to get teased on being fat, right? They used to call me Nobby at school, right? That was the name. I'm like, how do you get from Naroop to Nobby? I look back at it now and laugh, because some of those people then are actually friends now. And I can look back at it, and these are grown men. And so, and they respect me. They message me on LinkedIn or whatever it might be now. We're connected. So I forgive, because I know I said some things to people too. Like, you know, we used to cuss each other's parents and whatever it might be. Like, what are you wearing, bruv? Or why your trousers look green? Or like, you know, you just did it. You know, I look at young boys now and I hear that. I'm like, oh man, we're really cruel to each other. But back then, you don't know any better.
So I know you said you hid away, like you didn't really like say anything. Thinking back on it right now, would you have wanted your brother to have stepped in and act like a big brother?
No, I think so. I think it's very important for a man to fight his battles.
Okay.
I think it's very important. And I wouldn't change it. Yeah. I wouldn't change a single thing about me. I own all of it, and I love all of it. I really do. Because I empathize with young boys and young men so much, because I can feel their pain. So if I hadn't experienced it, I would never know what they're going through.
100%. But at the same time, right now, let's say, for instance, you've got one child, right? One daughter.
Yeah.
If you had, let's say, another daughter,
a
younger one, and you knew the younger one was getting bullied,
and
the older one was in the midst of it all, would you not want the older daughter to look after her younger sister?
My brother and my cousin actually went to school too. There were a couple of instances where things had happened, and I told them, and they're like, we'll just have a little word, you know, nothing aggressive.
Yeah.
But then they know they're there, and it's cool. But if I had said it to him, like if I say something to him now, sometimes I don't tell him everything. So I'm like, if I tell him something, he's going to literally fly back and do whatever he can to sort it out. And I don't want to bother him.
Fine.
So is that level of love. Like I remember once, right? Once I wasn't well, and I think I had a really bad temperature. I was lying down in my bedroom. This is when I used to live at home. My brother, I think, who was visiting. And this is very early on, maybe early 20s. And I got up, and because I guess I was so ill, my blood pressure might have been low, I fainted. So when I fainted, I hit the wall, right, in my bedroom. Massive thud, right? Dad comes upstairs. I'm now passed out in front of the door. So they open the door and they see him on the floor. My brother panics. Full on panic, calls the ambulance. When I come round, he is in bits. Like he's losing his brother. The ambulance comes. I'm like, dude, relax. I'm good, man. Don't worry. I just probably just fainted. But that's the level of love, right? And I think that's quite rare because when I see it through other people, I'm like, they don't have that same love that we've got. But then I also think, and I very much believe that the universe makes everything happen for a reason, that the level of love he has, not just for me, but for everybody, his generosity is what's kept him grounded, what keeps him going to this day.
Yeah.
And he had to have that. He had to be that personality type to be who he is now. That's why everyone's like, yeah, we love Jay Sean. He's just like, he's easygoing, he's fun, he's kind, he doesn't take things too seriously, he likes to have a laugh. You know, he'll you know, his humor's self-deprecating sometimes because he's like, we're just all the same, really, aren't we? Like,
would you say you're similar to him in regards to like what he does for you, you would do for him?
oh, 100%.
Okay, cool. So my question to you then, why is it that you feel a certain kind of way, even to this day, not to let him in with regards to what's going on?
Because he would worry. He would make a mountain out of a molehill. He would do anything he can to solve it. And I'm like, dude, so I call him. Trust me. If I'm going through something and I need advice, he's the first person I call.
Yeah.
First person.
Advice is one thing.
Yeah.
When you're going through something.
Yeah. Because he's got his own life, right? And
Understandably.
I take great pride in the ability for me to work through things myself.
Yeah.
I think it's healthy to communicate, but also to take a certain amount of accountability for yourself.
Of course.
Right. And to be your own best friend. Right. And so I like to be able to put the work in first. So for me, that usually requires a long walk, right? Where I just go away and I talk to myself. How am I feeling about this? What am I feeling? Allowing myself to process it. Because if you just go to people straight away, right? And you don't even want to take the time to understand why you're thinking a certain thing, how's that making you feel? You're just going to be reliant on people all the time.
I get that. I appreciate that. Like, we also have this instant gratification.
Yeah.
If you want something tomorrow, we Amazon Prime it.
Yeah.
Now, if you want an answer, chat GPT it.
Yeah.
You'll get it like that.
Yeah.
However, I do feel what you're saying, though, and I am with you. There's an element of, there's guilt associated with regards to possibly reaching out to him when shit does hit the fan. Because you don't want to worry.
I can understand what you're saying, and I think I want to. One of my biggest values is providing.
Of course.
I want to be able to do things for the people that I love and for people who I've just met, friends.
Yeah.
And I feel honestly that he has given me so much. I want him to stop giving, and I want to start giving to him.
That's fine.
And I think that is not only material, but it's also emotional.
100%.
And I want to and that's one of the reasons why I love that we've actually got one of our companies together.
Yeah.
Is that I can now give, and I also did that through, all the photo shoots and the music videos I used to direct for him. Is look, you've given me so much. I've learned something. This is my way of giving to you, because there's some ways you've given to me. Like I used to tour manage him. I used to fly around the world on business class and first class and stay on the hotels and go to all these parties and VIP access. Even though I was getting paid by his record label, I was still experiencing a life that I would never have seen, right? And experience. So my way of giving back is like, this is my talents. This is my skill. I will do it for you.
100%. But what you're saying though, there is no guilt there, because it's like, he's done all of this for me. I want to do the same back. You've just sung his praises in regards to how grounded he is, and this is the kind of person he is.
Yeah.
And now what you're possibly going to tell me is you want to stop him from being him so that you can give back to him.
Yeah, maybe there is that. Maybe there is that. I don't want him to worry, man.
That's fair.
I don't want him to worry.
What if something was going on behind the scenes?
Oh, Buff, he's always the first person I call.
Yeah.
I remember when I was actually doing my final year exams when I was at university, for some reason, I think it was the stress, I developed this thing where I didn't like to be in confined spaces. I was on the train one day and I was wearing so many layers and it was packed. I was standing up and it was hot and I was like, okay, I need to get out. So I got out of the train and I started to build up a slight resistance to being in places where I felt I couldn't escape from
Yeah.
quite quickly, right? I was 21, you know, I think it was a stress of university. It was a stress of all these of the exams, everything, right? So when it came to me doing the exams, I just felt really claustrophobic that I'm going to be in this room. If I don't get the answers right, I'm going to, you know, all my education, parents have spent all this money on private education. I've got to make sure I get at least a 2-1. And he knew I was feeling anxious, and he said to me, dude, listen, don't worry about it. Well, you know, if you don't get a 2-1, it doesn't matter. Mum and dad will still love you. I'll still love you. The world's not going to end. Right. And it was that level of comfort of knowing me so deeply and what my worries are, and then just removing them and creating a safe space. I just missed the first, bro. You know, he just helped me get that space. And that's what he does so easily for me, is know me, find the area that I'm worrying about and just remove it.
But can you see what you're saying though? The fact that like he does this for you in abundance,
Yeah.
and you love the fact he does that,
Yeah.
but you've got like a wall up right now to say, I'm gonna say no to it because one, I need to figure out myself, but you've done too much for me, and I'm not good enough to even give you half the stuff back.
Yeah.
That's also not healthy either.
It's there I think there is definitely that. There is that sense of it's my turn now, bro.
Yeah.
There is that 100%. I don't think that's
be there for you.
I don't think that's a bad thing. It's I'm very deep on these qualities of what I see a man to be, right?
Let's get into that.
It's not like, you know, toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
It's not like old school. It's the power of having the strength to be able to handle a certain amount of things yourself, right? Not in a way where I'm weak, because I'm probably the most open and vulnerable person, right? I've got a whole company based around that, right? But I like the idea that a man should hold himself to certain standards.
Of course.
A man should be perceived, especially by his children, in a positive way. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if your kids are 30 years old. You're still a father.
I get that. However, I will say on the flip side of it, because you are in that space as well, we need to encourage more men to reach out to those who they feel most closest and comfortable to, and not feel like a burden. And
of course.
You do feel like a burden when it comes to Jay.
I don't know if I feel like a burden. Do you know what? This is what happened. this is what he does, right? We'll go out, and he might meet some of his introduce me to some of his friends, and he introduces me as his younger brother, but not as the 44-year-old Naroop. It'll be like the 21-year-old Naroop.
Okay.
You understand?
So,
and I'm like, dude, I'm a 44-year-old man, bro. You can't do that. You know? Or we'll be like...
so what did he say?
We'll be in LA.
Yeah.
And we'll be at a bar. And I'll order around, and I'll put my card. I go, I got it, bro. I got it. I go, dude, come on, man.
Yeah.
I go, I got it. Like, I got money. Like, what's the problem? But it's also, I guess, from his side.
Yeah.
You know how it is when you like your cousin sisters get married. You're like, in my eyes, you're still like 18, and you're like getting married at 28. You always see them at that age. That love is connected to them at certain times.
He sees you as his younger brother.
Yeah,
do everything.
Yeah, my daughter, my daughter's 9.5. In my mind, she's still my little 4-year-old baby.
Yeah.
But now she's asking, Dada, please stop checking up on me. I'm okay. So, but the love is always at that age.
100%.
And I think that's what it is. It's like, allow me to be the man I am to you.
So have you said that to him?
Yeah, but he's not going to change. He just loves me like that, man. He can't. He's too generous with his love, and
that's fair.
And he will always do that. And to be honest, I also think I need that, because I don't have that really.
Well, do you know what? A lot of siblings don't have that.
Yeah,
stop.
I don't have that, and I think that's all. Can you imagine if you were and this is testament to him, if you were a global icon, right, and you see your younger sibling is trying to build businesses, and they didn't work, or is having difficulties with certain stuff, and is trying, and you're like flying around the world, you're doing this, and you're like, but my brother's there. You can't help but feel I need to do something for him. And I've said to him, because he said to me so many times, Naroop, I'm so proud of you that there's no jealousy or envy between us. I said, dude, if you were struggling, it would kill me. So I wouldn't change the way it is any other way, because this is how it's meant to be.
Yeah.
But he in the early days, I fully understand, because I would be the same. I'd be like, should I help you out? Do you need anything? Like, come on, like, do this. And I think it's that, which is really, it has shifted, because he's super proud of me and all the businesses I've created, all my achievement and my success, the fact that we've got this production company, and we're partners in it. It's all come around full circle.
Yeah. But like, I'm gonna talk on behalf of my sister who's younger, right?
Yeah.
Very kind of similar to you. I'm not a global icon, but I'm probably doing more influency kind of stuff versus what she's doing. And she went traveling for a year and a half. Whenever she'd pick up the phone to like worry about, like, I don't know if I can afford this, I'm like, just get what you like. If you ever need anything, you just ask.
Yeah.
Don't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
Money will never be an issue. We're not billionaires out here, but don't ever think that if you want to come home and you're worried about how much that flight's going to cost you, don't even worry about it. Money comes and goes. We'll always sort you out.
Yeah.
And even to this day, like, with small bits of advice, what car to get, where should you live, how much should you spend on rent, etc. I'm like, listen, don't stress.
Yeah.
People are here in your corner. I don't want you to stress. And I feel like from her perspective, kind of similar to you, it's like, how can I ever give back? Right? And what we try to echo in, like, I think what a lot of older siblings try to echo, you don't need to worry about that. Because I knew if the tables were turned, you would show me that love in your own unique way. You don't have to be up here for you to now treat me. It doesn't work like that. Like, when I was working, like, one thing we do at home, like, we don't celebrate Diwali that much, but we do Christmas. We go quite hard.
Yeah.
And once I was able to earn some money, like graduate scheme, and start like earning more, I'd love to just treat my family the best way I can.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, let me know. So when my sister was away traveling, she was away for a year and a half, and it was one Christmas. My mum mentioned that, oh yeah, I could do with like a jacket, super dry jacket or something. Then she said, that Dyson looks cool, but that's too much. And in my head, I'm thinking, it's a fucking £400 hairdryer. All right, I'll get it, because I can do that right now. You lot have done so much for me. Where I can, I will. And I always try to, like, my dad's always been similar kind of thing as well. Like, money comes and goes. Don't ever stress. Like, if you need it and we've got it, it's fine. Don't be careful with your money, but don't stress. And obviously, when you've got some family relatives who aren't possibly as financially, is it not the word successful, but where you possibly might be, you never try and make them feel shit for it. No. Because everyone pays that kind of love in their own way.
Yeah.
And you do that for him.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, you feel, bro, let me do my thing. Let me do it. Let me get you. Let me get it. Because it's like, he's in a place where he can always be there for you.
I think that, and you're right, but I think there's a time in my life I had to claim ownership of who I am. I'm not Jay Sean's brother.
Yeah.
I'm Naroop. Right? So people actually say to me, you never told me you're Jay Sean's brother. 6, 8, 10 months I've known them. But you never told me you're Jay Sean's brother. I'm like, but
why did
that's not my identity, bro.
Yeah.
And that in itself, again, was a beautiful thing for me to do, is to kind of strip off this identity that people have put around me. Like, I used to go to events, family events. People wouldn't even say hello. Is your brother coming? Is your brother going to be here? Yeah, is he going to come? I'm like, hello, you all right?
Yeah.
Or I'll do a funny thing at home. My mum's got a beauty clinic that she runs from home, and she'll come out. She goes, Nick, and the client wants a photo with you and the signature, and then I'll say, does she want one with me afterwards? Yeah, should I do it next, or like, did you want him to go first? Just to be like, do you know what? I'm not just here like a shadow. I'm my own man.
But do you feel like that?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But it took a lot, but I love it, man.
Yeah.
I look back on my life, I love it. I was chatting to my dad, man, today, and he was talking about work and business, and I was like, dude, I've gone through battles and I've gone through obstacles, but I've slain every dragon, and the carcasses are all behind me.
Yeah,
I look back at them, and every battle, it was a bloody one, but guess what? I always came out the winner. and the scars have healed, and I get stronger every time. And I love it because so many people will go through life and you ask them, tell me about yourself, and they've got nothing to say.
Yeah. No, but the thing you said there, like, I'm not Jay Sean's brother. My sister said it, like, I'm not Pre's brother. Relax. Like, I'm Talisha. You can call me by my name kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, even when I introduced her on my podcast, it was like, I'm glad you're not just going in with just, this is my sister, blah, blah, blah. Like, introduce me for who I am or what I do kind of thing. And I get that because you are Naroop first before anything else. Yeah. And I can appreciate with your brother being in the spotlight, it does make you possibly feel like, am I just that? However, when it comes to your relationship with him and that guilt you still hold in regards to what he can do for you and what possibly you can't, I have no doubt from what you're explaining to me in regards to Jay and his personality, if he needed something from you in his own way, he would pick up the phone and ask, and you would do whatever you can. You would find a way. That's your relationship.
100%.
You shouldn't then be resistant if he's going to do that same thing for you.
I don't know if I'm resistant to it now. It's just that I've got the capabilities of handling stuff now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But there's also, when you say it like that, I'm also hearing that I can do this. I don't need you kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he's not saying, take it. He's basically saying, whenever you want, don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
And in your head, you still feel guilty. Because you've made it.
There's a perception, bro.
Yeah.
When you got someone famous in the family.
Yeah.
That everything you are is because of a handout, right?
So you're now trying to... okay, we're getting into it.
So no, but there is that, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember, and it sits very strong in my mind, and again, this happened for a reason, that the people who were working with my brother, there were certain people, I won't mention any names, but they would treat me almost like a bad smell.
Yeah.
That was just lingering around. Yeah. And I remember how that made me feel. And I know I would never treat anybody like that. Because it's not a nice thing. It's just not kind.
Yeah.
What you think, because someone's younger brother's around, that they're just trying to jump on the bandwagon and get some of the fame? No. But there's no reason to be rude. But it says more about them than it says about me. That they're just in it to hang around with or work with someone who's famous.
You know, you mentioned you've slayed these dragons, right?
Yeah.
So what you're mentioning right now, you said those scars have healed.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they're still slightly open?
No, not with my brother. I think because...
Not with him specifically, but with your identity as Naroop.
Not now. I've battled with stuff for a long time. And I don't think anyone is ever fully healed because we're always developing and growing and learning, reflecting. You get triggered, something comes up, you work on it again. But I think at my age now and with my mindset and my learnings, yeah, man. I don't feel the universe would allow me and present me the opportunities it has now if I wasn't.
Have you learned to define success outside of comparison and competition?
Success is for me, it's a state of mind, is a happiness thing, man. I've been in places where I've seen and lived in the most beautiful places. I've experienced the best luxury that you can have. And I've also seen people who lived in what we would deem as being not luxurious and not nice, somewhere we wouldn't want to live and experience we wouldn't want to have, and they're happy, right? And I just think that as long as you can be aligned to your purpose and you feel like you're living your true self, then you are successful. Like, if someone has more money than you, it doesn't mean they're more successful. It means they're wealthier than you. It doesn't mean they're more successful than you. Success and social media, what you can blame what you want, has led us to believe the things, and people say this all the time, is nothing new. But I think happiness is a decision, and true happiness is not easy to find. It's a deep conversation with yourself. It's a one-on-one looking in the mirror. Who do I want to be? What am I willing to let go of? What beliefs am I willing to let go of to be happy? What am I going to say to myself? Actually, you don't need that, but you can still be happy. And these are difficult conversations, and they don't happen all at once. It happens through time. It happens through meeting certain people. It happens through experiencing certain things. It happens through experiencing losses. Things that you never think that you could ever live without sometimes happen. But you realize that if that didn't happen, I wouldn't know what happiness is. And I always believe that nothing is ever right or wrong. Nothing is ever good or bad. It just is. And reflecting on that understanding that then allows you to move closer to what happiness is. You know, I don't think we're meant to be happy 24/7. I think it'd be lovely, but then you can't then decipher like between what the experiences of life that's happening between you. Because if everything's happy and everything's good, sometimes someone can manipulate you, right? Or something bad can happen, and you're like, oh, I'm just happy that I've met this person.
Yeah.
Oh, he might be really evil, but I'm happy. So you don't want to be happy all the time. You just want to be. I think grateful is probably a better word.
Yeah. No, fair. And that's good. That's good because kind of like tuning back into like with the whole sibling kind of side of things. You're on like say on a very different extreme in regards to. But what's beautiful to hear is that the relationship you have with one another, it's like best friends.
Yeah.
Always there for each other. Like ride or die kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And then you've got people on the other polar opposite who possibly aren't in that. They're your, for better terms, like your average Joes. They work in the city, whatever, but they're super competitive and they're constantly against each other and they have an unhealthy relationship. Oh, you got married then, so I have to do this now. And it's what kind of, because we want to talk about siblings specifically, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's listening to this right now and is possibly in a situation where they feel like they're the younger sibling and their older sibling is doing X, Y, and Z and they feel jealous, envious. They don't feel good enough based on what's going on. Their older sibling is the one that's getting asked for photos, not them. What would you kind of like say to them?
I think it's self-awareness, right? And trust. Reason I say this is, funny enough, yesterday, brothers having radio interviews and I'm stood on the side listening, laughing. And I knew that I am exactly who I'm meant to be and I'm not meant to be anything else. And I trust in that. And that's got quiet confidence. Confidence isn't shouting out, look at me, take a photo with me. I want to be, everyone notice me. That's not confidence. Confidence is taking the time to understand who you really are. So even today, walking through Canary Wharf, seeing everyone with suits, people going to these jobs in these massive buildings, they're probably earning, crazy amount of money, some of them. But do you know whether you are meant to be working in that environment or not? Do you know who you really are? It doesn't come easy. It sounds like a simple question, but it doesn't. But I think when you are aligned to your purpose and you know that I am not meant to do anything other than what I am doing now, you won't get jealous. Because why would someone want to take a photo of you? Because you're not a pop star. You are whatever your purpose is. And you're not meant to have photos and selfies with people because your work is different. So if someone said to me, oh, I'm doing this, I'm building this company, I'm building that company, for me, knowing what I am building and growing, there's never a moment of jealousy because I wouldn't want to do anything other than I'm doing now.
I heard it.
Nothing. Because I'm so aligned with it. And I know that there is a global need for what I'm doing and what I'm building. And I know I'm the right person to do it. So I don't want to do anything else. No one can really tease me with an opportunity that's going to pull me away from what I'm doing now. Nobody. Because I know it serves every one of my needs. It's creatively, I'm being fulfilled. Financially, I'm going to be fulfilled. Helping people, I'm going to be fulfilled. Talking and sharing and helping others through my experiences, going to be fulfilled. Leaving a legacy is going to be fulfilled. Like, what is more? Tell me what more that I'm missing that I would need. But guess what? No one gave that to me. I had to find it and create it. And my experiences and the universe taught me it, right? But people don't allow it because they look at others, right? And again, I know it sounds cliched and it's very simple to say it, but they look at others, they look at social media, instead of actually analyzing and thinking, okay, this is what's happened to me in my life. Why have these things happened to me in my life? What is the reason? Because there is a reason. What can I learn from it? What are the signs that are being shown to me? Because I believe everyone is shown what they're meant to do. You're never given it on a plate, but you're giving little glimpses, little flashes. This is what you're meant to do. This is what you're really talented at. If someone just on a piece of paper wrote down, what am I really, really good at doing that no one else can do, right? And you listed them, and then let's say you got 10, 15 things, and then it's like a little puzzle. How do I put this puzzle together so I create something that is so unique to me? That is your thing.
That's
so
chasing what?
everyone else is doing. So I know, and I use the Dad Project as an example, there is nobody else that can create a company like that apart from me. Nobody, because it's based around my key values, strengths, skills, expertise, experiences, and who I am. There's no other Naroops.
It's true.
Right? And so where's the threat? Because no one's going to outwork me. No one has lived my life. No one can create what I create the way I create it. So tell me, who's going to compete against me?
I like how you've put it together, because this is things that people need to hear if they're in that competitive stage, or if they're looking at not necessarily brothers and sisters, but they're looking at other peers or cousins or whatever, and thinking they have to do more. I like what you said, that self-awareness, but it's something that's thrown out so glossy. And we're like, okay, yeah, cool, whatever. Yeah. But we don't actually take some time to sit with what you've basically articulated, that mirror reflection of you, and looking at where you've come, what you bring to the table, why you are where you are. Yeah. Do you want to still continue on this path? No? Okay, cool. So what do you really want to do is use your skill set and be the best goddamn version of you.
But do you know why? It's because it takes real bravery to do that. It takes so much to sit there and be honest with yourself.
I feel like it hurts a lot of people.
It hurts, man. You should, if you're not crying while you're doing it, you're not going deep enough.
I can see some siblings right now that I can think of who probably look at their older sibling and are probably beating themselves up because they had potential, they had the ability, and they made choices unintentionally based on their upbringing. So whatever happened behind the scenes, they then made subsequent choices. They're now where they are. And it sucks because it's like, I've just wasted that time. And it's like, brother, no, you haven't. Yeah. Things happen for a reason, and that's okay. Yeah. You didn't ask for what happened when you were a kid, which has now programmed you to then do X, Y, and Z. Yep. Right? These are things that have happened along your journey. But you can always make a turn now to go down a different direction and make something of yourself and do something that you really are proud of and what works for you. You don't have to be like her. No. You don't have to be like him. Stop thinking that you need to be anywhere else but where you are right now. Yeah. If you want to make this situation better, there are other people around you can reach out to gain some help and assistance and make a change, mate.
And it's also like this perception of time, the way we value time.
It's
like
fucked.
It's messed up because the past is gone, the future doesn't exist, you only got the present, right? People understand this, hopefully. And whatever has happened before was meant to happen the way it happened. But let's not worry about how long you got left because we don't know that, right? So let's just be grateful for what we have now and what we can learn from my experiences and just have the best moment now. Because even if we're giving 100% to something that we're really passionate about, we really believe in, we love and we're happy and everyone believes in us and everyone's saying you're amazing, there's no guarantee that you're going to be around for it to be fulfilled. Yeah. So if you're not just happy here, right, and understanding that this is the only moment that we will share, like right now, the only real thing for us is this right now. Yeah. There's nothing else, right? Everything's gone. I don't know what's going to happen later on today, right? For both of us, we just don't know. So let's live the best version of ourselves now. And a lot of us are living in the past because we feel bad or we regret, and then we're anxious about the future because we don't know what's going to happen. And it takes a shift. And trust me, we've all been there. I've been there. I know how it feels. But you can't look at other people and what they've experienced, especially your siblings. These are people who you want to count on when things are difficult in your life. These are people you want to celebrate during the best times of your life. Yeah. And I just don't get it how someone can't have a close relationship. And I find it very difficult to understand when I hear people don't get on. But one of the things that I have recently heard, and I thought does make sense, is that no siblings have the same two parents. Right?
I was just going to say this.
And that's the thing that could be different. Sometimes the parents they treat the first child and the second child different.
But you get middle child syndrome as well.
And middle child syndrome. So that's something but then requires therapy, requires conversations. That is a different thing. I know my dad and my mum probably treat me with a bit more care and delicacy than they do my brother. Yeah.
Well, I told my sister this. Yeah. I was like, you always think I'm the golden child. Yeah. If I look at it from a different lens, you get a lot better treatment than I. They care about you a lot more than they do me. She's like, no, they don't. I'm like, believe me, they do. Like, no one will check in with me to see how I am. Yeah. But the minute they hear you're upset, what's up? For me, it's like, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
You don't see it through that lens, but I agree. I wish more people could have that kind of approach and look at it from the angle where if something's feeling a bit unease, speak to people. But again, I don't think it's far away, but getting into that space where you can talk openly and freely in regards to what's happening and understanding where you've come from and not holding yourself back on choices that you've made is definitely the way forward. One of the questions I wanted to close this with you was two questions. The first one is, what's one truth you've never said out loud until now about Naroop?
One truth about me that I've never said out loud. Oh my God. That I haven't always had it together.
Okay.
I think people have this perception of me that Naroop, man, yeah, you're so resilient, and Naroop, you've got the strongest mind I know, and they don't see the times that I've quieted by myself, the times when I question myself, the walks that I've gone on just to shake stuff off, you know. But again, that's led me to be my own best friend, and I love my relationship I have with myself. Might sound weird, but
no, it doesn't.
I love the relationship I have with myself because I hold myself to such a high standard, not in a way where I'm a perfectionist, but I just know how much I can endure.
Yeah.
And when I'm feeling like I'm feeling sorry for myself,
yeah,
then the other Naroop will write, Naroop, get up, man. Like, okay, a couple of days of this is alright, but get up. And I think as I've gone older, I've become stronger and stronger. But I didn't always have it together.
Yeah, I hear it.
But I was very careful about people's perceptions of me, and knowing that I want to present a version of myself, not being unauthentic, but I got it, and I always got through it.
Fair. Last thing, and if your brother ever listens to this episode, what do you want him to finally understand about you?
That he's done a good job as an older brother. I think that would be the one, because I think he, you know, like I said before, he always gives and gives. Maybe that's from a place of him feeling a sense of guilt that he got to live this life. I have told this to him many times, but you know, he did an amazing job, the best job, and in the best way. Like, I think he should be proud of that. I think it's a very hard task with success to make sure that you manage to treat everybody with care and love and respect, and maintain a healthy relationship. And he's done it in the best way possible. So that's what I would say to him.
Love.
Yeah, man.
Bro, thank you, man. Getting Unfiltered. Then I look, honestly, the questions that I had written down, I was thinking you were going to take me one way. You didn't. It was great, like loads of love.
Oh, it was a pleasure, man.
Big respect to you, your brother, your mum and your dad, and
Thank you,
that energy that you lot have had. It's nice to see. You don't really hear about it in Asian families that often. So
yeah.
Where can everyone find you? I know you mentioned the dad's project as well.
Yep.
Like, let's plug that all in so I can put it all in the bio and on the screen and put it right into the camera if you want.
Well, if you want to see more about me, you can just follow me on Instagram, which is It's Naroop. And then the men's mental health organization I'm building is the Dad Project HQ on Instagram and across TikTok and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where you'll find me.
Love. Bro, you know you smashed it, man. Sick episode.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Love.
Thank you lot for listening to another episode of the Unfiltered Podcast. If you've liked what you listened today, drop us a like. If you've got any comments in regards to what we spoke about, if there's something you disagreed with or there's stuff that you did agree with, drop us a comment. And lastly, if you haven't subscribed yet, give us a subscribe. Whether you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple, or if you're watching this on YouTube, every subscribe goes a long way. And look, why wouldn't you subscribe? If you like the unfiltered nature of the podcast, surely you want to be in tune to whenever the next episode is coming out, right? Anywho, I'll catch you on the next episode of the Unfltered Podcast. It's been your boy Pri, and I'm signing out. Peace.